Hello guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time we do a user requested creepypasta like always called Lost Sonic. This creepypasta begins with the player telling us about their love for the Sonic games and how they played each and every one. You name it, they've played it. The player was in the attic cleaning up things and during the process encountered a weird Sega Genesis cartridge with a piece of paper with the words Lost Sonic written on it. The player had no idea what this game was doing in the attic, and the player never remembered this game from his or her childhood. Being the curious individual the player was, he or she got the game, plugged it in, and began to play it. The game started with the same thing every old Sonic game started with, according to the player, with a green island stage, with flowers and palm trees. But the zone didn't have a name, no. It only said Act 1, and the music was Green Hill Zone, but it was slowed down like in the European version of the game. Very keen ear. The HUD was non-existent, no life, time score, or ring counter. There were absolutely no enemies or environmental hazards in the level at all, but the player still went forward. It was according to the player that this was like a normal Sonic level. Then suddenly out of nowhere, Robotnik came out and attacked the player's character. In the level there were no rings at all, so naturally without them the player's character had died. There wasn't any normal death animation, no. Screen cut black and the death sound was heard. The game had froze right there on that black screen. The player reset the console and the game had restarted, and the player was shocked encountering this new title screen. It was a huge change. The background turned blood red under the ring with Sonic in it, you know, the game's title. It said Lost. The music was all screwed up, slowed down, missing a ton of notes. Sonic was far worse too. His color scheme was lighter and his eyes were red. Sonic was frowning with, oh my god, blood dripping out from the eyes. Are you fucking real? Okay, anyways, the player feared this and pressed the start button. The level started up and according to the player it was horrible. The title screen read, Tesal on E-Pax, and Tesa 1, pro tip, reverse the words. Sonic appeared to be the same as he looked on the title screen. The music was the same as the title screen as well, slowed and missing a ton of notes. The level had an underground theme with, get ready for a shocker, blood dripping from the top. Bones and puddles of blood surrounded the level, and as if it weren't gory enough, some gore was found too. Literally! The only enemy was a centipede from Mystic Cave Zone. Instead of dropping an animal when killed, blood dripped out. God. Anyways, there were spikes with blood on the tops and some cases that had acid that killed you in one hit. Every time Sonic was hit, he was sent back to the beginning, no checkpoints whatsoever, and according to the player, it was a very, very difficult level. After persevering, however, the player eventually got through this level, and at the end there was no signpost, just a giant black ball. Two ghoulish red eyes peeked out of the ball. It charged at the player's character and made the screen go completely red. The player thought it was going to freeze, but instead a message appeared stating, "You couldn't escape." A picture of Sonic, now wait, you might get a heart attack from hearing this, but he was being hung by a bloody rope. Not just a regular rope, a bloody rope. The player turned off the game and thought to him or herself, what the hell did I just play? Was this really made by Sega, or was this a bootleg? The player still doesn't have any answers, and the player threw this game in the trash, and it's been there ever since. Seems like the blood and cliche counter broke. Might have to get that one fixed soon. But wow, you know, creepypastas are a lot like video games. Some of them are just brilliant, some are awful, and some are in between. This was just bad. I mean, let's start off with the cliches. The classic player who loves a series to death and enjoys every game? Can't really say much there, seems to be a staple now. I mean, there's a lot of other ways to introduce this stuff. You don't have to be just a fan of the series to encounter a haunted game. But anyways, another one was the weird cartridge. I don't know, it feels like I'm nitpicking, but it just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, what is so weird about it? Does it look weird physically? More explanation is welcome. I mean, it's more like nitpicking, I guess. But moving on, the note being cliche as well, with just Lost Sonic, not even a phrase that matters at the end in the grand scheme of things, but hey, maybe this was a prototype Sonic game that got lost, huh? I don't know. The title screen, which was changed as well, like a lot of other creepypastas, didn't really affect me too. I mean, it felt like it was Sonic.exe's title screen in a sense, the music always being played slower and more ominously. To me, this doesn't really seem scary or add any creepiness. I mean, it would be really good if I could hear the music. Just the explanation of music with a lot of notes missing and slowed down really isn't exactly heart-stopping in my books. I don't know, I feel more explanation would be better. But the most facepalm-worthy parts were the blood and guts and the red eyes. I mean, really, I understand this stuff plays primally, but it should be used seldomly or else it kills the whole mood. I mean, did you count the references to blood? Like I asked back in my Bound to Death creepypasta, the Earthbound one, I want you to tell me, how many references did you count? Just tell me in the comments below. The ending also, in my opinion, did suck. I mean, really, those were the questions being asked? Did Sega make this? Was this bootleg? And then throwing the game away? Simply referring back to the first episode I did, if I found a game like this, I wouldn't simply throw it away. That'd be under lock and key here. And I know you usually let this slide, but here it just felt like it was thrown in, It's like, oh, did Sega make this? Was it bootleg? I'll throw the game away. Okay, I don't know. But again, if I found a game like this, it would be under lock and key. Moving on, I'm not here to rip on these. I'm not. What can we do to make it better? I guess for starters, it should be a little longer, more build-up, and again, you don't need build-up for every creepypasta. For example, stuff like Polybius, which essentially is an urban myth, for that you don't really need build-up, it's sort of just there, but for creepypastas like this, you have to let the fear settle in. You need to reduce the cliches as well, which according to the author was fixed and better than the last version with cliches, so I kind of want to see the old version. But instead of going to the different title screen and slower pitched audio, maybe do something else in the game. For me, I don't play much Sonic, and I don't know, much about the series and the lore. I mean, I play it seldomly here and there. But find something within the game you can revolve the tale around. Maybe make it an origin story level with the game. Maybe gradually make things scarier per level, ultimately leading up to some revelation at the end. Make the creepy phenomena more realistic. Granted, this stuff has been done before, and I guess you could say it's a cliche as well, but it would be quite refreshing to see in a Sonic creepypasta. In the end, I can't recommend this, but the links are in the description below, so if you want to read it yourself, go ahead. What would you change to make this creepypasta better? And what would you rate this creepypasta? Now be nice. This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.